Hey, what's going on? Welcome to episode 76 of the Strategy and Conversions podcast. I'm Jamie Michael Joseph, and if you are watching by video, you will see that I'm by myself right now. Mark is off on holiday. He's celebrating his wife's birthday. They're taking a well-deserved rest. And look, instead of waiting, instead of going, yeah, do you know what? Let's just skip a week. I thought I would jump on to do a podcast on my own. I know Mark did, the same for me a couple of weeks back. So yeah, look, you're going to be with me for the next 3 hours, but no, I'm just playing. Look, this might be a short podcast. It might be around sort of 10 minutes, might be 20 minutes. Who knows when I get going? It's going to be one of those things. I mean, I only talk if it's going to bring you value. So that's what I thought I would do today, is pick a subject to talk about and give you some value, as the kind of same process as what me and Mark do. We kind of get to the start of the podcast. We've usually been speaking for a few hours before. We usually help each other in just working through any kind of problems, that we're having, or any kind of roadblocks and stuff like that. We will look at strategy and conversions, the momentum builder and stuff like that, things coming up, things that we need to work on. We go through all this stuff, and it usually brings out a certain topic that we start to discuss then on the podcast. And obviously, look, I haven't had that time to do that myself, or not that I haven't had the time. I haven't had someone to bounce the ideas off of, so I'm kind of just doing this on my own. But what I would say is that kind of process, that thing with Mark, where, like I said, we kind of talk through things. That is what basically started the podcast for us. So as the same as everyone, when the pandemic hit, it was just like, wow, like people talk about unprecedented times. That's the thing. Like, something happened and we're just like, wow, how do we react to this? What do we do? What are the solutions here? What are the opportunities? What do we need to be wary of and stuff like that? And we would just spend time talking. Now, myself and Mark, we've known each other for it must be a good 7 years now, something like that. And this is what I want to get across to you today, is that kind of process of, when I first met Mark, it was just a chance meeting at a networking event. So I went to a networking event. Mark was there. We kind of said hello. We've seen each other a few times then at different networking events, and got to the point where we started having a chat. I'll get back onto that kind of process in just a minute. But if you take that with just for me, right, I'd been to a good kind of 20 or so networking events before that. And going to networking events is really interesting, how kind of like a compound effect happens. Like, things happen over time, things evolve. I spoke before on this podcast about how long does it take to become an overnight success, right? And it's the same thing of, look, how long does it take something to start working? And it's not about it starting to work, it's working the way how you want it to work, or is working the way how you can step away from it and stuff like that. But here's the thing, like, with that, I can remember going to my first networking event. I think it was about 2014, 2015, something like that. It was just a local event, local businesses. I went along, I didn't know what to expect. There was kind of like a section of people who were like the kind of loud and party people. There were a few people who, like myself, it was the first time then, unsure on what to do. There's a few people who have been around, for a little while. They knew a few people. And it was quite interesting. Did I enjoy it? Probably not. It was a bit of a weird kind of setup. But it was one of those things where I was like, I need to do this for my business. Let's even take it back further than that. I can remember starting my business and, kind of having referrals and stuff like that, friends and family, helping them with their marketing. And then it kind of slowed down. So I'm like, right, I need to practice what I preach, do the whole kind of marketing, get out and about, meet people, meet the local businesses and stuff like that. That was my real kind of thing back then, local business marketing, as well as, some online marketing as well. But local business is how I started my business as a consultant. But going to these kind of networking events, go into one, okay, look, I'll book into another. And you meet different people, and people talk and say, yeah, don't you come to this networking event? This one's over here. And it was, there's a guy, Nick, and he's like, do you know what? I go to a networking event on a Tuesday if you're interested. And I was like, yeah, okay. I didn't know at the time, like, he gets a bit of benefit. He brings me along and stuff like that. He gets a few points and a commission and stuff like that. But, at the time it was just lovely. And, the guy was genuine as well. He was like, come along, he's a nice guy and everything like that. But he was just like, yeah, come along. So I went along to that networking event. Yeah, thought it was pretty good. Thought, yeah, I'll give this a go. I'll join it. Started doing a few of those, dotted around and stuff like that. And then that's how I met Mark. It was a chance kind of, kind of meet him one time at one event, seen him again. Oh yeah, saw you at the last event. Yeah, a few different chats. Then what is it you do? Okay, yeah. Do you know what? I like some of this. I like some of that. And we probably just ticked along for a little while. And then Mark said to me, "Oh, do you know, I'm going to put on a little seminar." I was like, "Okay." And he used to deal with a lot with numbers at the time, and knowing your numbers and kind of innovation within your business and mindset and stuff like that. And I was just like, "Okay, look, I'll come along, to that." And he said, "Do you know what? Actually, you know what you're doing with all this kind of marketing stuff. Why don't you do a little section in the seminar about marketing?" So I was like, "Yeah, I'm all over that. Let's do that." I did some stuff around kind of sales funnels and kind of marketing systems and stuff like that. But at that event, as much as I was there doing the stuff for the marketing, I was listening to Mark and I was listening to the stuff he was talking about. And I already knew there was synergy between us and stuff like that from the conversations we had. And we'd help each other on a couple of different projects and stuff like that at that time. But going to this seminar, Mark was talking about certain things. He's talking about, we've spoken so much on this podcast about life goals. And that was a big thing that Mark sort of opened my eyes up to. And he was just like, forget business goals. What are your life goals? Because your business is a vehicle that you use to achieve your life goal. And I've never heard that before. It never been explained to me in that sort of way. So when he had said that, I was like, wow, this is a new revelation to me. It's a new realization. Why am I, working in this business? I'm not doing this because I want to be busy. I'm not doing it because I want to grow, a certain business and stuff like that. I'm doing this because I want more time freedom. I want more money freedom. I want that lifestyle freedom. And it saved me from making a choice of going into that agency route and building out an agency and stuff like that. I'd probably got to capacity at that point also. And I was like, right, okay, who now do I bring in? I think I was also outsourcing certain parts and stuff like that. It was like, who do I bring in? And I was just like, after hearing Mark say that, I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that setup. I don't want to be the person that has to go to the office each day, 9 to 5 and make sure people are doing the job and, training them to do it. And if they don't do it, well, it still needs my input. I still need to do it because it's my company at the end of the day. I was just like, well, do you know what? I can still make probably the same income with doing 20% of like the kind of hard work, the hassle, and actually do the stuff that I enjoy. So why wouldn't I do that? And that put me onto that kind of route. Then me and Mark did a few bits and pieces together, but we were quite separate in what we were doing. We would help each other out when we needed. And then the pandemic hit, right? So with the pandemic hitting, we still did our chats. We still had our kind of time where we got together and we were like, right, okay, look, what's this problem? What's that problem? And we just thought to ourselves, look, why don't we just record this one time, and we can put it out there. And that whole kind of intention wasn't to go, okay, look, if we do this, yeah, we could sell more of our services and stuff like that. That would be a bonus, of course, right? That would be a benefit from doing the podcast. It builds up a bit of that kind of personal brand, a bit of that know, like, and trust. But really, we were there going, this is what we wish we had 5 years ago, for Mark 10, 15 years ago. Like starting a business and just having someone you can say, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you reckon? Or, this is what I'm doing at the minute. It's not quite clicking in the way that I want it to. How can I fix this? Okay, yeah, my expertise is this. I was speaking with Mark the other week and I said, like, me and him working together, it's kind of like a breathing in and breathing out kind of example, right? So if someone has a problem and they say to us, I'm having this issue with such and such, straight away we're just like, right, is it a breathing in issue, meaning is it an internal issue? Is it a mindset issue? Is there a self kind of roadblock in here? Have you not planned it out? Have you not mapped it out? Do you not know what you're doing? Or is it a breathing out part where it's to do with actually putting the content out there, doing the kind of sales call, or doing the kind of content that will get people into whatever it is that you're offering? Is it actually fulfilling, the job that you provide and stuff like that? So that's the whole kind of thing of breathing in, breathing out. I said about like how we work together. And that's what we want to get across on the podcast. But it's just like, if we talk through a certain subject or we talk about experiences and our knowledge and stuff like that, we kind of elevate the conversation. That kind of mastermind takes over where we're having different input and it kind of takes on. And this is what we do with clients as well, or members within our kind of momentum builder. is that they come in with ambition, they come in with targets, they come in with goals, and it's like mapping out and going, does this really make sense? How can we adapt it to make it work better for you? How can we make it even better? How can we add more income in there? We've given examples before also where, we've had people and they're like, look, this is the idea that I have, this is what I'm about to do. And we looked at it and just gone, you're not going to make any money. In a year's time, you would have done all this kind of stuff and you would have made about $7,000. It's like, you can't live off of that. So you need to adapt that product. You need to adapt that service. You need to look at how you can get more people in and charge more and stuff like that, doing the same thing, but just in a different way. And then it just becomes even better, right? So it's having that kind of value with that input. Like I said, that's all what we want to get across in the podcast. And the reason I'm talking about that and saying about the whole kind of thing with me and Mark is that if you look at that podcast now, right? So what would I say we were on today? Episode 76, I think it is. Right? I mean, wow, right? A lot of people, they start a podcast or something like that. They get to episode 5, maybe 10, and that's it. You never hear from them again. Obviously, the people who have been doing it for a long time, the kind of OGs, they're up at 500, 1,000, even more kind of episodes and stuff like that. We'll get there one day. But that kind of point is that we kept going, one because we like it, one because we enjoy what we're doing and stuff like that and helping people. But it's not just one of those things that we kind of had one chat, not knowing each other or anything like that, and just having one chat and then starting a podcast. It was kind of 5-7 years in the making, right? So going back that kind of chance meeting, I would have never met Mark if I didn't take that leap of faith to start my own business, right? If I didn't then kind of realize, okay, I need to do something a bit different here to what I've been doing to make it work, I wouldn't have gone to that networking event. If I wouldn't have thought to myself, yeah, okay, I need to get around and keep trying this and just give it a bit of a go and see how it pans out for me, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to go to another networking event, right? And if I wouldn't have taken that opportunity and said, yes, I'll go to that, I wouldn't have met Mark. And if I wouldn't have gone to these different events and Mark wouldn't have gone to these different events, we wouldn't have had the certain chances and stuff like that. If Mark wouldn't have basically, I'm trying to think what the word, I'm just going to say the balls to put on a seminar, right? If he wouldn't have had that kind of balls to say, yeah, I'm going to do the seminar. And if he wouldn't have asked me to do that part and stuff like that, would I have gone there? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't have listened to that part where, about the life goals and then gone, this makes perfect sense to me. I need to have a chat with you about this and look at how I'm doing my thing. That wouldn't have then meant that we kept in touch and we did all the kind of conversations over that time to get to the point where we were having a chat in the pandemic and going, we should start a podcast. And then what happened obviously from that podcast is we actually started Strategy and Conversions. A rebrand of my business. I was doing the kind of local consulting, the business consulting and stuff like that. I was also doing a bit of training with people, and that was kind of global. And it was like, well, look, let's just put it all into one place. Let's just do coaching, training, accountability, support, all this kind of stuff. Let's just put it all in one place. Be that system that we wish we had. We can help people. And we come up with this whole kind of golden, target that we want to help 1,000 people, each year to create that business or that opportunity or that kind of system that will put them on their way to achieving the success that they want, right? That came 2 years ago, right? And now we are like 2 years forward and stuff like that. We've got our momentum builder, that's what we really kind of focus on. We've got a few other bits and pieces. We've got all kinds of different training that we've created over the years. Like, it's insane. But all that happened because we were at the same networking event. And that's what I want to kind of get across, is that so many people want that instant gratification, that instant success and everything. And of course, look, we want as much money as we can in a week's time. We want as much kind of the business that works for us without us needing to be there, works on autopilot. We want that as soon as we can. Of course we can. Of course we do. We want all the kind of freedom, choice and everything like that comes along with creating a lifestyle business as soon as we can. Right? Of course we do. But in reality, that doesn't happen instantly. Right? You can have some success. You can start building towards it. There are certain situations where, yeah, you can catapult forward and stuff like that. But when you are intentional about playing the long game, you build up, you create momentum within those results, right? So that you get to a certain point where you're just like, yeah, but overnight success. And that overnight success doesn't necessarily mean that you've kind of got celebrity status. It doesn't mean that you've got $1 billion or, 100 million or even a million, right? That success could be, do you know what? I've now got to that situation where I can leave my job behind. I've now got to a situation where I'm making a bit of a side income from doing this. I've now made that kind of salary that I used to get in my job. I've made that on my own. Or do you know what? Yeah, okay, I've increased my business by 20%. Whatever that overnight success is, it's all about working towards it. There are building blocks that will get you there. And if we look at it within kind of marketing and sales, like the same thing happens there. Lots of people I've spoken with over the years, I've seen and stuff like that, they put out a message that they're selling some sort of service or some sort of product, a program, whatever course, whatever it is, and no one buys, or they get a little bit of traction, and then they kind of shelf it because it didn't work, or they try a certain marketing strategy or a certain tactic, and it doesn't work, and they go, right, okay, that didn't work, on to the next one. And they keep repeating that cycle all the time without building momentum. And what we do where we look at building momentum is that product that no one bought, it doesn't necessarily mean that that product is wrong. It could be that the messaging is wrong. It could be that the pricing is wrong. It could be that you just haven't, pointed it at the right people. It could be that people just want to digest a bit more. Maybe people need to get to know you, like you, trust you a bit before they buy from you. Maybe you need to build that intrigue, that intent, that desire before they want to go ahead. And not everyone is ready to buy right now. It's something like 2% of the market are ready to buy right now. And so many people are in competition trying to get that buyer right now. You always face an uphill battle, right? You can obviously speed things up where you want to look at new realizations and stuff like that within the person. The same as, like I said, with Mark, when he talked about, life goals over business goals, that opened my eyes. I was ready to then proceed with that kind of path to go, right, okay, I want to build my lifestyle business, not a kind of big chain sort of business. And that part there is that you may be there going, I do want to provide this program. This is how I want to do things, but I'm stuck doing services because that's what's paying the bills right now. But that's absolutely fine. But just be intentional about that program or whatever it is that you're trying to get across, and keep tweaking it. Have conversations with people. Do things that break the norm. If things aren't working within the process that you're doing, but do you need to add a call in there? Do you need to speak to people? Maybe it's the flip side. Maybe you're trying to force people onto a call, but it's a low ticket product that you can actually just get them to buy straight away. And it's looking at stuff like that and going, okay, look, where do we add things in? Where do we take it away? What's needed here? Do we need to tweak stuff? What's the best thing? Look, again, shameless plug. If you need some help, look, Strategy and Conversions, send us an email, support at Strategy and Conversions, or info@strategyandconversions.com is better. Or just head straight over to the website, right? Strategyandconversions.com. You'll see the momentum builder. You can join into that. And obviously you have our input then working with you. But the whole kind of thing there is like, look, you look at what it is that you're trying to do and ask yourself the question of, why isn't it working? Instead of just going, that didn't work. Why isn't it working? What is it I'm really trying to achieve, and where am I right now? What do I need to, tweak to start building momentum to get there? That whole kind of thing of, going to networking. Imagine if I went to the networking event and just went, I haven't got any business from this networking event. I'm never going to come here again. I wouldn't have then been on that kind of spiral of meeting different people, having conversations. And as much as I love online marketing and I love, kind of strategies and systems and stuff like that, that kind of networking, just your network conversations that you have, connections that you make with people, they're just invaluable, right? I mean, you can't buy that just by going out there and having conversations with people. Like when you have a chat with someone and they start talking about their dog, or they start talking about their kids, or something like that, that information that when you see them again, you can say, hey, how did you get on with little Johnny's football tournament? Right? That kind of stuff there, you can't do that with online marketing. We can do so many cool things. We can get so much data. We can, have things run on autopilot and stuff like that. But we can't just have those conversations if we don't have that initial conversation, right? So I don't know what this podcast episode has really been about, if I'm honest, but hopefully you've taken something from it. Let me know, drop some comments, some likes, some shares, pass it on to people. Let people know about this podcast episode. I can't remember if I said, but it's almost 40 countries now that we've been listened to from. And that's insane, right? Again, we just kind of started it. I'm in, a room in my house. Mark is usually in a room in his house. We just go live, record, say whatever we want to say, and then we get some sort of product out of it, and we've had some amazing feedback from the podcast, right, where people just saying, I love what you spoke about there. That helped me get past that. Do you know what? That kind of thing, it made me realize that what I've been doing here, I need to, go both feet in with it, and actually make this happen. And that's what I'm hoping kind of comes across in this episode, is that, look, if things aren't working right now, look, keep at it, tweak it and stuff like that. Go and make it happen. It doesn't happen overnight, but how long does it take to become an overnight success? Well, look, it just depends how long you need to put the work in to make that happen. There are people out there that can help speed up your journey, whether it's a case of working with someone like ourselves to have input and help you like that, or even just the connections that you make with people, even just having those conversations. That it doesn't necessarily have to result in more business for you now, but it could result in a better mindset. It could result in just knowing a shortcut to try on something, right? So that's all it is there, is that being intentional to, I guess, improve and take chances, and just, look at what the outcome is, tweak and go from that. And that whole kind of thing as well, of like looking at how things happen over time to actually evolve. Like if you look at all the kind of success stories and stuff like that, everyone's got that story, right? Everyone's got the story of, this kind of thing happened, and then that kind of thing happened, and that kind of thing happened before we got to this kind of one success thing. And there's a great book, Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers. I've been reading that, and it's just like little things where you look at people being in the right place at the right time, taking an opportunity when it's presented to them, having conversations that later result in business and stuff like that. So many stories I can tell you about that kind of stuff also. But look, let's wrap things up where we are right now. Mark will be back next week. You may have listened to this episode, I don't know. We're judging on that when he comes on. And if he has listened, I'm sure he'll have some input and we can carry on from there. But yeah, look, as always, look, here's to your success. Go out and smash it. Look, your success is up to you. Your life is yours. You can choose to do exactly what you want to do. The main thing is that you just have to go out there and do it, right? No one's going to come and do it for you. Just take those steps, go make it happen. And yeah, I shall catch you next time.